Good morning. If you went to family reunion, I'm impressed you're on this call. I'm impressed I'm on this call. So welcome. If you didn't go, hopefully you looked at some of the recordings and Gary's message and things like that. It was great. It's going to be in Anaheim next year. So if you didn't go, plan on going. It's really terrific. We're going to get started here on time because that's what I do. So Miss Angel, let's take it away.
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. The most important hire is your real estate assistant with your MAPS VP, Monica Reynolds. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours on the MAPS Group YouTube channel. You may access the YouTube channel from your Zoom confirmation email, and we will also share the link in the chat momentarily. Currently, everyone is on mute. We do value group participation, so we ask that if you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the chat box located in the taskbar at the bottom of your screen. Your questions will be addressed by your coach throughout the webinar. Following the meeting, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's all for me, Monica. Take it away.
Hey, welcome everyone. And I so appreciate you getting on this call. And I know some of you are coming back from family reunion and you're fried. I know, I get it. So welcome. So, I'm Monica Reynolds. I'm the VP of MAPS. I run MAPS and I'm also known as the assistant trainer. I have been training over 100,000 assistants in the last 40 years. So you can figure that one out. And so what's interesting for me is that this is the person that's the secret weapon. And I am so glad that you're on this call, whether you're an assistant, an agent, and you're thinking about how to do the hiring correctly. When you hire that right person, and let's go to the next slide, Stephanie. When you hire that next person, what's amazing is that your life changes. You get leverage back. You get leverage back and leverage into freedom, meaning, so you've given this leverage, right? And now you have freedom of money, freedom of time. What's your definition of freedom? Financial building, wealth. But the bottom line is that this person changes your life, they change your client's life, and then you change their life by being a great boss and giving them opportunities also. So why do you want to have someone in your life? Well, mine was, I was a single mom, 3 kids, trying to juggle everything, doing about 55, 60 transactions at the time, blew up a marriage, to be totally honest, and thought, okay, I have to do this differently. I need someone. And I was a control monster. Nobody's going to touch this file by me. So if you're out there, you know who I'm talking to too. You understand, like, oh, I like the T's crossed, the I's dotted. I wasn't so great at it when I was real stressed out or busy. I'm not so great at it. However, I do know how I like it done. So know your why. Do you want to build more freedom for you financially? Do you want to build more freedom for yourself, time-wise? And then I highly respect anyone who says, I want one assistant, that's it. Great. You can make a lot of money doing that. And absolutely. And if you say this first hire is your most important hire, this is how you build your team, good. I'm all for that too. So you got to know your why. You got to know your budget. Does it support? So know your numbers. Do they support another hire? So I will give you something. Now, all these slides in this recording are going to be given to you. So you will have them. So know your budget. So for example, if you really want to feel the safe world, have 3 months of salary put to the side in a reserve for them. Okay. And then know your numbers. As far as when you do the second hire, your first hire should be between 30 and 40 transactions. You're on track for that. You do that. This is the next step to go to 75 to 100. As you're passing that 45 to 50 range, you start to hire your second person. Maybe that's a part-time person. Maybe that's a full-time person. You never hire a buyer agent until you have the business of at least 75 transactions in my world, and you have 2 assistants. Have a detailed job description for each position. Have a 30, 60, 90 day, that's critical. I'm going to go through that. Make sure your compensation plan is ready. And it is absolutely, in my opinion, something that is absolutely pays a reasonable salary wage for your area. Do not under any circumstance pay someone a percentage of your business. If you go on vacation and you're not working, they get to starve, and that's not fun for them. Just a thought. I've seen it done wrong. Make sure your training program is in place. So the perfect real estate assistant, investing in them for them to see the big picture, being trained by me, by MAPS. There's so many great programs. Also, there's so many great free programs on KW Connect. The KW Connect, there's so many there that you can help your assistant. And Market Center training on command, on the videos, it's all there too. Use a KPA and a DISC with deadlines. So I'll go through a hiring process and share with you that process. However, you never hire anyone that you haven't done a KPA on them and a DISC. And you're going to create growth plans because you want someone to know this is not a cul-de-sac salary and it is not a cul-de-sac job. There's opportunities for growth. So the next slide we're going to bring up right now is a resume. And so why would I bring up this slide? Because we don't check them. As agents, we're too busy. High D's, go, 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 right? We're not going to do it. Well, they are perfect. They're perfect. I've got to hire them. No, you don't. No, you don't. And when you learn to go 3 levels deep and you look at that resume, and so if you get a bunch of resumes, bless you, okay, in this market where everyone wants to not work, bless you. So you take those resumes, you divide them up into 3 piles. First pile is admin experience. Second pile is admin and real estate experience. And then the third pile is admin that question mark, not, well, I call it kind of Burger King. So let me just call that Burger King. Okay. Burger King, no admin experience. One pile is admin experience. The other one is admin and real estate experience. So I look at those and I look at them very clearly, and I'm looking for a couple of things. I used to say if they job jump 3 or 4 job jumps in 2 years, I'm kind of questioning that. Not so much anymore. So if they have, you're going to interrogate why all the different moves in the last 2 years, if that has happened. So we go with open-mindedness and we go with curiosity. Okay, so when you look at this and you really divide those 3 piles, who jumps out at you? Who do you need to go and make those phone calls to? So if you go to the next slide, so I call them first, okay? So over the phone question. So I put out the ad. The next thing is I do the resumes. I go through that. I look through that to see who I want to talk to. I don't call any references now, but I look at those resumes and I look at them hard and strong. The references, we'll get to that. Most of us don't do that step, but it's really a good one, really a good one. It gets you a lot of information you would have never discovered had you not called. So over the phone, and I'll call them randomly if I like the resume and I say, hi, it's Monica Reynolds with Keller Williams. Do you have just a minute? Great. I'm probably going to just ask you a couple of questions. I've got your resume here and I'm so excited about talking to you. So tell me a little bit about your job history. I've got it here in front of me. Tell me what you've done for the last 3 or 4 years, and then that causes a conversation. Now, if they say, no, I can't take the call right now, I go, great. When's a better time to call you? Then if they say, yes, I am looking for 2 things. 1, they can communicate. 2, they can think on their feet. And 3, they don't go, well, let me think about that. No, don't go there. Don't go there. Okay. So what I want you to hear is that they can come back with a little personality, with a little clear speaking voice, and and you ask them another question. Once you say, well, that's an interesting job. Tell me more about that. You're creating a conversation because they need to think on their feet when they're talking to your clients, and they need to have a little personality come through, right? So tell me about your job history. Describe the perfect job for you. What are you best at? What are your hobbies? And I also sometimes ask, what are you not so best at? What do you prefer not doing? And, you'd be surprised at some of those answers too. So it's quick and fast. And at that point, if I like them, if I like the energy that came across on the phone and I thought, okay, all right, then I'm going to say, great. The next step is I am going to send you a KPA, Keller Personality Assessment, and a DISC test. You can't win or lose on these tests. It's just who you are and your personality, which allows me to have a conversation with you and know a little bit more about you. So with that said, today is Wednesday. Can I get them back by Friday at 12? Would you have time? Because I go very clearly, would you have time? And they say yes. And I go, great. So let's do this. I will send this out to you in the next 45 minutes. My assistant will. And then if you could return that to me by 12 o'clock Friday, great. What happens when you get one back in 2 or 3 hours? They're excited. They're ready, right? And then if I get one back at 12:30 on Friday, poof, we just say, sorry, thank you so much, or the position's been filled, whether it has or not. We appreciate your, sorry. I mean, I'm not going to do that with someone who is late to the party. Okay. So once I've got that and they get their KPAs back, I will then do an office Zoom interview, or they will come into the office, whatever you're comfortable with. Personally, if you can meet with them in person, you can see their body language a little bit more than a Zoom call, but you need to do it by Zoom for sure. Or if not, the very best is to come into the office. Okay. And then once I go through that and I go through their talking to them and their job history again and their personality and kind of getting into that and asking a few questions on the KPA, I go through the summary page. Tell me about this. Does that sound like you? At that point, I decide if they're going to the second interview or not. If I don't think they're a match, I'll go, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Now, here's how they blow it. They come to the interview late. Not a good thing, okay? If they notify me that they're caught in traffic, that's okay. I get it, whatever. Should have planned a little bit more, but it's okay. But if you don't let me know, you roll in 10, 12 minutes late or 15, I'm not interested. But I'll do the talk and then we're gone. So one of the things that I ask is, how many people in your Facebook would you be willing to let them know where you work, and would you be willing to recommend me as their agent once we get to know each other? I've had people say no. Well, my mom's in real estate. Anytime I have something like that, I give it to her. And they go, great. Where's your mom at? Blah, blah. And they go, oh, that's great. Boom, out the door. Okay. So once that interview's done, I'll say, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I'll let you know what the next step is. If I like them, I say, thank you so much for your time. I would like you to come back for a second interview. And in that interview, I'm going to go through their life story. I'm going to really dive into who they are, what they're looking for, what their big why is. I'll test their skills. I'll have them type out a letter. I'll have them do a couple of other things, see if they can do an Excel spreadsheet. I will test their skills. And their references, after that second meeting, then I dive into their references 3 levels deep. So it cannot be family and friends. Remember what I'm saying. No family and friends. No on the references. What are they going to say? But I did have a mother one time saying, I wouldn't hire my son. Oh, no. He's just too flaky right now. I went, okay, well, that's good to know. So, all right. So with that said, going back to references, when you talk to your first one, you say, so John, it was really great speaking with you. I really appreciate you taking the time to answer a few questions. Who else should I also speak to? I need one more person to interview. I just need one. Who do you think, that Sarah worked with that I could, speak to? Oh, okay, great. So then the next person and the next person. All right. That 3rd level deep, man, have I been surprised there, and it paid off not to hire that person. All right. So job description, schedule. So you've got to have a detailed job description. You just can't wing it. What are they going to be responsible for? You've got to have a clear schedule when you're hiring someone, what their hours are. Remember, I'm looking for the shiny eye, someone leaning in and says, I would love this job, right? Yes, I want to support you. Yes, I want to help people with the American dream. And I'm also looking for someone whose schedule conforms to what I need. You can hire someone part-time 10 to 3, sure. But as you're building your business and you're in that 30 to 40 stage, you really need someone full-time. Can virtual work out? Absolutely. Should they be trained? Absolutely. And then you put an offer letter together so that everybody's clear, what the bonuses are, what the pay is, etc. All right, next slide, Miss Stephanie. Thank you so much. Stephanie and I've worked together for 12 years now. So when you're setting goals, you've got to be specific, measurable, achievable, repeatable, and timely. So you guys have seen this slide before. So we'll go to the next one, Stephanie. And here's what I want to do with you is that we want to set up 30, 60, 90-day goals. You will set your assistant up for success. Every time I've done this, 2 things happen on the 30 days. They decide it's not the right job. I decide it's not the right job, or we are in love. We are in love. We're building a team. This is going great. So that 30 days is critical. Yet you do not want, somebody wants a drink of water, you don't stick the fire hose down their throat and say, take a drink, right? So we want to go specifically. So I wrote these out for career visioning on assistants, and I've trained more assistants than anyone in the country. I have the training program that hundreds of thousands of people have gone through. So here's what I want to share with you. You teach them how to answer the phone correctly. What? You mean I have a phone line? Yes, you're a business person. You have a phone line to the office, a digital line, whatever it happens to be, right? Okay, they learn how to answer the call. They learn how to handle a potential buyer-seller call. You hire someone with talent. They don't necessarily have to have a license. You can get that done, especially with what Keller Williams offers, K-Score, Keller School of Real Estate. So if you don't know about that, ask your market center. That's free. So here's the defining thing. When I'm talking to them on that first interview, I'm looking for a clear voice with a little energy in it. Come on, give me some energy, because you're going to be talking to my clients. And so they have to learn how to communicate effectively when a potential buyer call comes. Potential seller, you're at a listing presentation, you're showing buyers, you just missed a call. How much money does that call you? Because that first call is the most important, the very most important. So I have all the scripts for that. So starts out by saying, thank you, this is Stephanie with Monica Reynolds' office. How may I help you? Great. Or I can help you, however your script is. And then the next thing is, well, I'm calling about this house. Great. Monica is on appointment right now. Just tell me give me some of the questions that you have. I'll be happy to answer. Now the assistant's not going to answer, because while I'm looking that information up, may I get some particulars from you? How long have you been looking for a property? Do you currently own or rent? They can ask those questions and not be licensed. And so all of that is scripted out. The second thing is that putting together a pre-list package, getting your listings prepared, learning how to crop a photo, processing all the listings. And the basic challenge right now, when you look at this and you look at a general overview on all of this, is that this 30 days is the critical 30 days. This sets the pace. They need to know the database. They need to help grow the database. They need to know that the database is your only asset. They need to know what a complete is: name, address, phone number, and email. If you're on command, great. There's training videos, there's all that sorts of things. And as you're training your assistant on some of the basics, like data entry or any of those things, or putting a listing on MLS, then you hold up your phone and you have your assistant videotape it, and you start to build your training library. Okay, so the first 30 days, answer the phone, database, and the listing process. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay. When you go to the 60 days, now let's take a look at that, Stephanie. You start to work on closing the files. Now, if in that first 30 days they didn't learn everything, I will give grace. I will give grace, because things can happen, business, disasters, whatever happens. So maybe you could move that timeline. But if you feel that that person did not rise to the occasion, didn't retain information, didn't initiate, I want to learn this, that sort of thing, then that can be a challenge. And so you can give them a 2 weeks and say, let's make sure that the next 2 weeks that all these items are completed. You don't go from 30 days to 60, and it could be longer. It could be 45 days to 60 before you go here. Now you go through the closing, you go through the tracking numbers, you go through lead generation. All right, those are all then presented then. So let's go to the next slide, Stephanie. So on the 90 days, okay, let's take a look at that. On the 90 days, now this is the part that I think is really critical. You've introduced them to whatever marketing, social media marketing that they need: listings, closings, database, phones, tracking weekly numbers, goal monitoring, and also sharing the lead generation systems. That can all be done in 90 days. Will they be 100% proficient? No, but with your leadership, with you taking the time and you scheduling the time. Now, put your questions in the chat box, because after this, I will do every single thing I can do to help answer those questions. So put your questions in the chat box. Now, the 90 days is the part where you really need to decide, are we going to go forward with this person if you haven't done it before? And this is where you have that come to reality conversation. Okay, next one, Stephanie, the business plan. So I was the first one to ever say that, first of all, you want to absolutely respect the assistant as the highest level, at the highest level. This is your business partner. This is a person that is going to make all the trains run so that you go out and you do your job description. What's my job description? An agent says, you lead generate, you lead follow-up, you go on appointments, you write contracts, you role play. Those have dollar signs attached to it, not messing around in a file or putting stuff away on your desk. No, 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 go get your car washed. No, these are dollar signs that you should be doing every single day, 80% of the time, 80% of the time. And yet, let's validate the assistant. What do we want from a great assistant? We want them to know what the goals are for the year. You would be surprised when I ask assistants, do you know the goals for the year? How many houses the agent wants to sell? How many people they want to help with the American dream? A lot of assistants don't. So make sure they know. And then what are the assistants' monthly goals? The assistants' monthly goals are everything from reviews. It can be from referrals, asking the current clients. I've got all the scripts for that in the training. The other thing is empowering the assistant to want to be part of, to not want and also be appreciated to be part of the business. Assistants will say to me, which was mind jarring for a while, they would say, I don't know what I contribute. I said, what? The assistant makes the major contribution. You as an agent, you go get the listing, you go get the buyer sale, they make the trains run after that. And so it's very important that we lock arms. If you were at family reunion, let's lock arms. And you build these plans for the assistant so that they can see where they can grow. Everything from profit share, everything from, bringing a team member on, reviews and referrals, obviously. But if you had a listing manager and they were going to process 50 listings, then her or his goal each month is to process X amount of listings. That they're going to successfully do that with great reviews. So there you have it. Okay, so that should help. All right, the next slide we want to go to, Stephanie, is the one on the 80-20. So a lot of times people get a little confused on what's the 80-20 for an executive assistant. Transaction management, listing management, client care. I'd put that number one, agent care number two, client care first, right? Client events, database management, marketing campaigns, lead source tracking, and numbers. Okay, so then you'll see on the 80% there, putting packets together, pre-list package. Financials are pretty important, but a lot of first assistants don't get involved in financials. They may categorize and put together some expenses on a spreadsheet, building a bench, team events, things like that. Those are all that other stuff. And yes, you will get a copy of all the slides and you'll get a copy of the recording coming up. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, Stephanie. So the next slide is on the schedule. And so one of the things is that, your schedule starts the night before. So far be it from me to tell anybody when they want to go to bed or should go to bed, but I always tell every agent, schedule starts the night before. If you're don't have a predictable schedule from Sunday to Thursday, Friday and Saturday go nuts, but Sunday to Thursday night, be a predictable schedule. So an assistant hypothetically comes in, checks voicemails, emails, etc. What does a client need? Their first priority. Then, from 9:15 to 9:30, it's your pendings, and I call it escrow because I'm from California. It's your pendings, etc. And then so the priorities are handling any call or voicemail from a client who needs something. Voicemail, email, text, client, whatever it is, take care of that. Number two, it's your pendings. Number three, it's processing any new listings. That should be bunker time. You as a great agent should not be bothering them. You should not talk. You should meet at 11 o'clock in the huddle. Now, in my training, I have 2 sessions on communication. There's 2 reasons assistants leave agents, and that is number 1, communication. Number 2, money. Same reasons people get divorced. So we want to build this relationship where you lock arms and you have this magnificent person that you take to the next level with you, and they contribute at such a high level you can't even imagine your life without them. All right, and then after that, it's things in the afternoon and stuff, etc. Let's go to the next slide, and you'll see the etc. for the afternoon. This is merely a suggestion, and I give you a 450-page policy and procedures manual. And in that policy and procedures manual is every single checklist, letter, campaigns, event checklist starting 6 months before for an event, what's successful, what isn't, I've either written them or I've stolen from the best. So you're going to have the best information. You will never be hostage to someone who needs to take a break from being an assistant or needs to step back. Maybe they're having a child, whatever it is. You'll never be hostage if you build the right policy and procedures manual. So I will give you that. It's 450 pages long, and you get a section each time you come to the call. All right, so then you see the afternoon and how it lays out. And the whole key for me in this is that this is a doable schedule. It's predictable and unpredictable, right? I had to laugh about that because there's always going to be squirrel, emergency, fire, firefighter over here needed. And yet you always want to go back to the beginning of the morning. If you've done all those things that we did from, 9:30 to 11, great. And then every time you get off track, you go back to where you left off. So before we go to the ahas so the next slide is ahas and questions, I believe, Stephanie, I think. Let's see. Oh, okay. Let's go to the next slide. So I'm going to answer some of your questions, and I respect your time, but I'm going to do everything I can to answer your questions. So the first question is, I know someone's asked already, is Wednesday, March 16th is when this starts. It's 6 months long. You go to mapscoaching.com/group. You can put in Web 100, receive $100 off. It is $199 per month for 6 months. I guarantee you that you will leave there with a complete book of business. You'll have a hiring system. You'll have communication system. You'll have a listing system. You'll have marketing systems. You'll have prospecting, lead generation systems. You'll have closing systems. You'll have social media systems. All the systems are laid out there. And again, as I said, you'll have tons and tons of checklists. So the thing that I want to do is give you more value than you could possibly imagine. And that's what I've been able to do after all these years. No one's trained more assistants and agents than me. I ask that agents come to the call the first call of every month. This particular month, it's going to be on the 16th. Usually it's at the first of the month. I teach you to be a great boss. I teach you to be a great leader. And I also teach you what the assistant should be responsible. So together we lock arms and we go forward, and you build the most magnificent team for yourself, for financial freedom, for leverage, for freedom time-wise. This is going to be an amazing partnership. So let me answer a few of these questions. Let me see if I can find some here. All right. Is this for KW agents only? That's a great question. It is not. We do have a lot of KW stuff peppered in there, but not that much. I don't really talk a whole lot about Command, which is our software. I just say, here's the page to go to. Here's the recording to listen to. So a substitute for the KW assessment would be really just doing the DISC task and doing an in-depth how you win with each other. The DISC will tell you how they like to learn, what's the best way to receive information. So that's what we used to use, and you can use that still. So the KPA is just a little bit more in depth with the thinking and how people think. So it's a little bit stronger. But yes, you may come to the class, and that's not a problem. Okay, so if you have leverage, the listing sets up photo with the service. Would you skip training this to the assistant or train them to take over? They take over everything. So if you get anything out of this call, listen to me on this. This is your most powerful leveraging. Jessica, the only thing you want to do is lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, write contracts, and role play. Those have dollar signs. So Jessica and everyone thinking right now, in your schedule today, how many dollar signs do you have in your schedule? What if there were dollar signs all day long? You can double your business with one assistant. And I'm going to share something else for someone on the fence thinking about hiring an assistant. If I said to you, let's just say $15 an hour, which could be a high in some markets. You paid an assistant 20 hours a week, $15. That's $350 a week times 4. Was that right? Yeah. 200. Yeah, I don't know. No, that's 300. Sorry. Like 20 times 15. That's 300. Okay. 300 a week. That's $1,200 a month. What if your average commission is $7,000? You're going to pay $1,200 and get 80 hours back. Could that save your marriage? Could you have more time with your kids and go to a soccer game and still do as much business, if not more? Sure. Could you have some ability then to double your business because you have someone doing the things that do not have a dollar sign next to it? They're very, very, very powerful, very important. And yet this is who you are. You're a salesperson. You should not be behind the desk doing paperwork. So let's say your commission is 10,000 average, which is kind of the average, price range right now in America. Right now is around 300,000. Sure. So 1,200 for 80 hours a week. Just imagine. Put in the chat box. What does 80 hours a week do for you? One word. Just tell me, what would 80 hours a week do for you? All right. So here's a question from Elania. Oh, I just missed it here. Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit better. Okay. How do you interview? No, this is from Jerry first. How do the interview questions vary, and what are you looking for when you're hiring a VA through a company that handles vetting and some training like Cyberbacker? I would trust them, Jerry, and make sure that your job description matches what they have the ability to do. Love Cyberbackers, love what they can do. I'm not sure that the things that they can't do, Jerry, is when you walk in the office and say, hey, print me off a pre-list package. Hey, print me off a buyer package. Hey, do this, do that. They're not there to help you, with something, or I need help with this. Can you do this? It's more of an interaction, obviously, virtually. So there's some things that they can line things up for you to print. They can line a whole bunch of things up. So have that conversation. The calls are live. And they are also recorded. They are on Wednesday, the 16th. I believe it's at 2:00 Central. And so they are live. And I really like the assistants to come live. I like you to come live for your one call. Screen on. Tell your assistants that if you're going to make the investment, that they must have the screen on. If we are starting the process of hiring, Heather says, should we take this course first before making the hiring? Heather, yes is the answer, because you now know what you want your assistant to achieve. Now, here's the good news, Heather. This course is 6 months long. What happens to most people is that they will hire during the process. The calls are recorded, the calls are live, and then those recordings are going to be there. So if we start in March, April, May, June, July, August, it's over in August, but then you have 2 months after that. You will have September and October to go back and listen to those recordings. So Heather, if you're planning on hiring someone in the next 8 months, this is perfect, because you can say to your assistant, go listen to this, watch the video, go listen to everything, listen. And also here's the information, and we'll talk after you listen to this 1 hour call. So the calls are 1 hour. I'm on time. I end on time. And so they're great. And I want you to know, I empower the assistants to be the most unbelievable asset in your business. Here's Elania's. If you are an agent on a team that has a listing court and TC, and you have an assistant but want to hire a third to get your next level, great. Would you recommend hiring a buyer agent instead of the second assistant? No, you need the second assistant. I don't know where your production is. If you've got 100 houses sold, you need 2 full-time, and you need to hire that third assistant. But if you have done 100 transactions and you've got 2 full-time assistants, then absolutely you hire a buyer agent. Now, with the way I divide work up is that there's 2 different personality styles. You want an S, which is the nice person with a little I in there and some D as a listing manager. That's perfect. It's a bulletproof system usually. The C, the TC, you want a high C. You want the T's crossed, the I's dotted. If you have a high I in the profile in a disc, just to keep things simple, in there a TC, you got drama every day. Drama. I need that C that's the calm, that looks at things, can see the big picture, can see the future, and then can also really make sure the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Can you see again the 45-day goals? Didn't have a 45-day goals. Stephanie, no, it's the 30-day goal. So it's a 30, 60, 90. And what I said, Magda, is that you will then move that to 45 days if you feel that candidate is still good. So 80 hours per week, Helen, No, I'm sorry, 80 hours per month, 20 hours per week. So in my analogy, if you're hiring a part-time assistant at 20 hours a week, I'm sorry if I said a week, it is a month, 80 hours per month, 80 hours per month. Give me some grace, guys. I just came off of 7 days at family reunion, got home late last night, and I'm excited to talk to you. So in case I kind of goof things up, but the 80 hours per month, what would that do to your business? Do you recommend a Monday, Friday schedule for this role? Absolutely, without a doubt. That's where your business is mainly. And if you, in my personal world, I never relied on my assistants on the weekend because I respected their time. They are employees, which brings up another thought. You never hire an assistant as an independent contractor. If you have a job description, you have hours that they come to work, and they have certain duties that they do. All right, Jerry goes, thank you, understand that. All right, so if I split the job between 2 assistants, who job share can both have access. Okay, yeah, if you split the call, okay, if you have more than 1 assistant, here's the great news. It's 1 registration. So put all your assistants on the call, because the listing manager should understand what the escrow person is doing. Everybody needs customer service. Everyone needs to understand the numbers. Everyone needs the communication process. So several assistants, put them on the call, no problem. And remember, I'm a believer that a TC and a listing manager, 2 different personality styles, okay? Do you have an assistant do personal stuff, stay in your car? Yes, I do, Luke, only if you have that conversation. So in the hiring process, you say, there will be a time, Luke, that I may need you occasionally. I need to make some calls. And if I gave you my car keys, my credit card, whatever money, would you feel comfortable running my car through the car wash or going and getting it detailed? Would you mind doing some personal errands for me sometimes? I won't abuse you. I won't take advantage of it. And when you do personal errands, now, Luke, watch this. You'll be using my car, or I will reimburse you mileage. So you do not want to take advantage of an assistant and rack up their miles, especially with the prices of gas, everybody. Just saying, to be more, what I'm trying to come from a heart of caring and a heart of leadership, a servant leader. Okay. All right. Also, can anyone explain one more time the DISC, where we are looking for our first? The DISC is a personality assessment test. Look it up online. Your market center may have a DISC that they can give you to take. If you're with Keller Williams, you have the KPA. In the DISC, you're looking for someone. In my world, I'm a high triple D. Imagine that. So I'm looking for someone with a CSI. So a C means they are absolutely analytical, cross the T's, dot the I. S means they're the nicest people in the world. And I means they have a lot of energy. I'm a D, and we're rude and patient and demanding, and yet we get a lot of stuff done. All right. Just for clarity, are you recommending only have an assistant when you are at 30 to 40 transact? Absolutely not. I recommend you hire an assistant when you're losing as much business as you're doing. I recommend you hire an assistant when you financially feel that you're capable of doing that, so you don't stress yourself out and you don't stress your family out. So you can hire an assistant at any time. Just the proven things over the years is when you get to about 30 transaction, the wheels start to come off, or you start to feel pressure from your family or your health, or you're giving up going to the gym, or you're giving up working out. You're giving up something for you personally that you shouldn't. And that I usually say, you know, if you're doing this last year, I know everyone on this call, and don't lie to me, your nose will grow like Pinocchio. I know you could do just as much business. That you lost as much business last year as you did. And that's just the way it was. And it could be this year the same thing. Is there a way during or after the course to gauge if the assistance is benefiting or making use of the material? Yes, I give you a very clear picture on our first call, what you need to be doing. You have to have a meeting with them. And I say have to if you want to make this the best. I'm not the secret weapon, the pill, the magic pill. There has to be accountability. So I give you how to do that accountability wise. And I also give you a form that you will be checking off as we go. Remember, what you inspect what you expect. The bold law, inspect what you expect. The DISC CSI is for the first admin hire. Is that different for the TC? No, you want to do two things. You want to do a KPA if you're Keller Williams. And the second thing is you want to do a DISC also. You do both of those. They're personality assessments only. And then, as I said, I test their skills on typing and data entry, rather. I test their skills on what they know on putting an Excel spreadsheet together. I want to know what they want. I give them a few names and say, here's our CRM command, put it in. All right. What's the DISC for a listing manager? My favorite would be an S, a C, and an I, an S, C, and I. And for transaction manager, CSI. Now, that's only because, remember what I'm saying, I am a triple D. I am a triple D. All right, good. All right, let's see. I think I may come to the last part of the question. So here's my parting thoughts for you guys. One of the most challenging things is to make the right hire. Take your time. Do the phone call like I suggested. Catch them off guard. See if they can think on their feet. You're going to have someone answering your phone, and you're going to have someone who represents you, and you want a clear speaking voice if that's what they're going to do. And they should do that. Okay. Second thing is test their personality, KPA and a DISC, and then go through that with them on the first interview. Do not hire on the first interview. Do not hire on the first interview, and do not hire on the first interview. You can make a huge mistake. And take your time hiring. And yet there is that expedience, where you go, urgent moment here. Okay, this guy's really good. And so you might say to them, thank you for coming in today. What I'd like you to do is come back tomorrow. I want to go through a few more things on your KPA. I want to go over the job description with you. I want to go over what my expectations are. And I'd really love to have this second interview as quickly as possible. So you could move on that, but also keep looking at who these other people are. So you want to go through those KPAs really strong, and you really, really want to take the time to interview enough people. The other thing that I think is really critical is setting up expectations. Set up the expectations so that number one is they understand who you are by reading your KPA and also what you expect on the job description. The job description, which I give in the assistant training, is also a checklist. So every time they've learned something, you check it off, Your job description is not a wish list for this unbelievable amount of things you want done. It's more in, this is what I expect for this job so far. And then we move from there. And what's great about a job description, when you hire your second assistant, you start peeling off from that for the second assistant. So everything's a system, everything's duplicatable and scalable. All you simply have to do is sign up for the program. And I look forward to being on the calls. It's a Zoom call. I'm live. I'm excited, full of energy, ready to coach you, ready to coach your assistant. This will be the best investment that you've made for you, but most importantly for your assistant. It shows that you care and that you want to build a partnership and you want to give them that information. Everything that I give you is duplicatable and scalable. If you're doing 20 deals and you want to do 2,000, you're at 200, doesn't matter. You build the foundations. You build the foundations. You will get these slides in the recording so you can see those again. And then I've got another webinar coming up in another couple of weeks. And since you signed up for this one, we'll make sure that you hear the next one. It's more about the systems. And so that will help you make a decision. And if you're ready to make the decision, sign up today. I look forward. Thank you, Gregory. You're awesome. Hey, you guys, get a secret weapon. It changes your life. It changes the client's life. And you build a business and you have leverage, which gives you freedom. Okay, thanks, everybody. Go sign up. Thanks so much. Thanks, Stephanie. Appreciate it. Angel.